I was deeply in love with Norman. Couldn't shake it, couldn't tell you why. And I hated to be one of those people that says, he loves me, I know he loves me. He didn't mean what he did. I just couldn't let go of the love that I had for him, no matter how mean or how disgusting he became. I loved who I fell in love with, not who we became. He comes to my dreams quite often. Probably 2 or 3 times a week. 21 years and he still comes to me in my dreams. The dreams I was having at first after his conviction were that he's chasing me and he's wanting to kill me, and I can hear him screaming, "Where is she?" And then it went from being terrified of him in dreams to where I love him again. He's asking me to come back to him again. I felt that love in my dreams and would wake up so bothered by it. How could I be so stupid to love somebody like that? To have dreams about him and still love him in my dreams, it makes no sense. It's like he's haunting me. I get nervous talking about it. He must have been born evil. I had so much hope that I could save him. I stayed with him because I loved him, and I said, well, we can make it. We can get through this. I'll show him that my love is an undying love, and I loved him to the end. I was still married and living with my husband when I first met Mr. Starnes. And it wasn't a good marriage. I was looking for someone to love me the way I wanted to love. The day I met Norman was in his own restaurant. Went in to eat dinner. And there was something about him. He just had a smile that flabbergasted me, I guess you would say.
Hey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. My name's Norman, I'm the owner.
Oh, Gwen.
Gwen.
Nice to meet you.
I was mesmerized, spellbound. And everybody in the community looked up to him. If you needed something, he would give you his last dime, take the shirt off his back. It just made me fall more in love with him, that he was such a giving and generous person.
I just wanted to let you guys know it's gonna be on the house tonight.
Wow, thank you.
Absolutely. I hope I see you again soon.
You will.
I wanted someone like that. I wanted to be with someone like that.
Great. Enjoy.
I separated from my husband and was on my own with my son, so we started going out and having a drink every now and then. I was completely comfortable with him.
No, I'm serious.
He was good to me, treated me with respect and dignity. But he did ask me one time, and I thought it strange, would you still feel the same about me if I told you I was in prison before?
What did you do?
It was a long time ago. It's just kid stuff.
Norman told me it was just misdemeanor stuff, running from the police for speeding and making the police chase him down. Stupid, stupid kid stuff. But it was nothing serious. And I said, well, I truly believe that people do change, people can change, and that's your past. I don't need to know that. Past is past.
It's okay.
It is.
Yeah, I love you, no matter what.
Okay.
I should have caught on that maybe I just don't need to mess with him, but I never looked at it that way. I was mesmerized by him. After he asked me to marry him, I thought, this is going to be wonderful. We're going to be a family. He was real good with my son.
Oh, this is your present right here.
Whoa.
You like it?
Anything my son needed, he got for him.
You and me tomorrow? We're gonna go fishing all day long, just you and me. All right?
I worked for him, and we lived together, and I loved being with him. I loved being around him. He just brought something out in me that I hadn't felt in years. Norman had an ex-girlfriend that had cheated on Norman with a family member of his, and that was hard for him to get over.
Hi.
Hey,
What are you doing there?
I'm installing a tap on this phone line.
Wait, you said you were setting up a tap?
Well, he told me that she had called and wanted to see him again, that she still loved him, but she was married at that time. So he told me, he goes, what I'm gonna do? He says, I'm gonna set her up.
Do you think you should do that, Norman?
This woman is getting absolutely everything that's coming to her.
He decided that he was going to lead her on and then record their conversations and give it to her husband to get back at her. I can't believe what I'm hearing, and I can't believe he's gonna do something like that and be that vengeful, that mean.
Norman, why are you doing this, sweetheart?
She deserves this. She hurt me.
If he was supposedly engaged to me, there was no reason to.
Honey, we have a life together now. Can you just forget about her,
Yes,
sweet?
we will move on with our lives together as soon as I finish this, okay?
Not long after that, Norman said he gave her husband the recordings of their conversations. And I never heard any more about her or the woman's husband. I learned him that if you do something bad to him, he's gonna get you. He will find a way to get his revenge on you, no matter how long it takes. Norman and I had gone car shopping. I loved the car that I was looking at, but he won't let me buy it because of the rate. So when their back was turned, Norman grabbed the car keys. And later on, he hired someone else to go steal the car off the lot. After he stole the car, we were going through town and he was stopped for speeding. And here we are, Norman and I, in a stolen car. I know it's stolen. So I was terrified. I'm going to jail. He's going to jail. What is my son gonna do? Who's gonna take care of my son? I was frantic.
Jesus. Norman, what are we gonna do?
Calm down. I got this.
Norman got out of the car.
Oh, officer, what seems to be the problem?
I couldn't hear what was being said, but I knew that he knew these police officers.
That's right, your brother's Robert.
Yes,
That's
I remember
right.
you, man.
How are you, man?
Good?
His sister worked for our police department, so all of the police department really liked him.
It's good to see you again.
It was good to see you
Have a
again.
great
Tell
one,
your
man.
brother I say hi, okay?
After a while, he was able to get back in the car and just drive off. Just like a slap on the wrist and going about your business. Nothing was ever done to him.
I told you there was nothing to worry about.
He was not arrested. He was not fined. He just walked away. Norman was shot. And he was ranting and raving that he was going to take care of it himself. He was not going to turn this boy in. He was going to kill him. This used to be a photo of Norman, me, and my son. But I wanted to cut him out of my life, so I cut him out of the picture. If I had to do it all over again, there would be so many changes. I wish I'd seen all the signs that I needed to see and done the things that I needed to do. Norman had a gun on him 24/7. Always had a gun on the headboard of his bed and had shotguns on a rack in the bedroom. And then he also carried one in the small of his back at all times. It didn't alarm me because I know he was a businessman. And the money going out of the restaurant, you could be robbed. So it didn't bother me that he had a weapon on him.
Phone's on.
All right.
Bye.
I love you.
Until he started using them during his anger. He had sent me on an errand one evening. He kept calling me and asking me where I was at. What was taking me so long? He felt like I should have been back within 30 minutes. When I got back to the house, Norman had shot up the whole ceiling in our living room with an automatic. There were bullet holes and plaster just falling from the ceiling, and you could see it all on the floor.
Is everything okay? Are you all right? What happened?
Norman got angry.
It angered him that much.
You just stay here, okay? It's gonna be okay.
To come home to that was shocking. Just running late causes that? What if I do something worse than that? What's gonna happen? What would he do if I were there and he was angry? His sister had committed suicide, and they were very close, and he didn't handle that very well. He got into drugs, and they just took a hold of him, and things started going downhill from there. I was home one evening. He has a bad drug deal, and he calls me, and he's screaming, "I've been shot, I've been shot. Call 911. They end up taking him to the hospital, and I don't have a clue what he told the police because they questioned him in the emergency room. Norman never told the police the truth about what happened because he wanted to take care of things himself. He made the comment to me that he was going to get this guy back, that he was going to take his revenge. In other words, he was going to kill him. He told me he was going to kill him. So he said he wanted to plan a cruise, but have someone go in his place to make it look like he's on this cruise when he murders this boy that shot him. I never considered talking to the police because I never believed that that would ever come about. People talk when they're angry, that they're going to do things that you really don't expect them to do. People say a lot of things when they're angry. I know I have. So I never really truly believed that he would go that far. And he never did anything to the gentleman. Nothing ever happened to him. After Norman was shot, he became a different person. His personality was changing. I didn't see him smile like I used to. He wasn't around very much. After we closed up the restaurant at night, he would leave and be gone all night.
I'm going out. Take care of this.
Norman.
And then that's when I started seeing his actions of paranoia. There was one incident that we were at home, and he was terrified. He started looking through the mini blinds, checking under the bed, in the closets, even moving clothes from side to side in the closets to make sure no one was there. He would swear there was people in the trees watching him. It terrified me. He just got more and more evil. I don't know how to say it any different. It made him an ugly person. Norman and I would go to the drag strip quite often. He loved drag racing, and he was getting angry at me because I wasn't sitting with him.
Hi.
He was screaming at me, accusing me of flashing people my breasts. This is crazy. He proceeded to beat on me, to pull my hair, to try to gouge my eyes out. He kept kicking me and kneeing me in my legs.
Stop hitting her! You're hurting her!
My son's begging him, please stop beating on my mother. Daddy, please don't hit my mom. Excuse me. When my son says, Daddy, please don't hit my mom again, I said, I'm not going to put my son through this. I'm getting out of the car. We got out of the car and he leaves us. We're stranded a couple of 100 miles from home. I called a friend of mine to please come and get me. If anyone crossed him, he was always in a plan to get back at him. So if I could file a complaint on Norman, I felt vengeance would come my way, that I would suffer from it. I was scared to death to do anything because I had to go back home and get in the same bed with him.
Hey.
Norman had gotten me to the point where I was totally dependent on him.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Go sit with your daddy.
Norman always controlled all the money, so I had no place to go but back to him.
Relax. Have a nice walk.
I was putting myself and my son back into a bad situation, and I didn't know how to get out of it. Things started going downhill worse after that. A lot worse after that.
Looks like luck's just not on your side today, Norm.
I loved Bill and Jared. They were a lot of fun, made you laugh all the time, always cutting jokes. We would get together occasionally and go shoot pool, have a few drinks, and just enjoy each other's company. They were nice people.
Hey, this is for you, Gwen. 14, corner pocket.
Let's see it.
Oh!
That was for me.
Yes, it was. Yes, indeed.
Well, they all liked to gamble and bet on their pool games.
Don't get cocky now, Norman.
And it got to the point where it started getting pretty serious.
Uh-oh, looks like somebody's gonna be owing me a little bit more money.
Norman would come back into the restaurant several times to get more money. And then he came in one time very, very upset. And I'm asking him, what's wrong? What happened? What's wrong?
Norman, what's wrong?
Bill pistol whipped me.
Oh my gosh.
He said, Bill pistol whipped me in the bathroom at the bar. And I noticed that he was red in the temple. According to Bill, Norman shied him $40, and that upset Bill very much. He felt that, what kind of friend are you to steal $40 from me? Norman goes to the register and gets some money out of the register. And he proceeded to get his gun. And I asked him what he was doing. And he said that they're gonna die tonight. They'll be dead tonight. And I'm like, yeah, right. You're just mad. You're mouthing off again. Because the times before, he'd never followed through with anything he threatened on doing. So I just shrugged my shoulders and went on about my business.
You gotta come with me.
Norman.
They're dead. They're both dead.
He told me, come on, let's go. It's time to go. They're dead. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, right.
They're both dead.
Come on, let's not do this anymore.
And he comes up to me again and he said, I said, it's time to go. It's time to leave. They're dead. Come on. So I went to get my son and he said, no, he's not going. He needs to stay here. I get in the car and we start going down the road and it's headed towards our home. And I ask him, where are we going? He keeps telling me to shut up. And I kept saying, Norman, where are they? Where are we going? And he wouldn't answer me. So then we finally pull up and it's in our driveway. And I said, Norman, where are they? And he said, they're in the house. They're dead. I refused to get out of the car for quite some time. And then he kept screaming at me, if I didn't get in the house, that I would be the one that would cause us to be arrested. So I proceeded to go into the house, and the first one I saw is Jared. And he's laying in my floor, looking up at the ceiling with the look of fright in his face. And he pointed down to Jared and he goes, you know, that could be you. He makes me look at him. He goes, I know he's dead, but I don't know about Bill. And he points towards our bedroom. And Bill is laying in the floor in our bedroom. And then he goes into the bedroom to check on Bill. He said, yeah, he's dead. And Bill had the same look in his face, like sheer fright. It was almost indescribable. Oh my God. This is Bill and Jared. Oh, God. I haven't seen their faces since that night. And it feels good to see a smile instead of the look of fright on their faces that I last saw them. It's good to see them smile. Now I can keep that in my brain, in my memory, instead of the last memory I had of them. He stands over Jared and he slaps Jared in the face several times and says, "This is all your fault." And he drags him to the front porch to load him into the trunk of the car. And then he did the same to Bill. He drug Bill to the trunk, put him in the trunk. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there looking at everything and watching him, watching what he was doing. And then he finally comes back in and Norman makes me drive the stolen vehicle to follow him. We ended up at his uncle's property. And as we pull around the back of the property, I see Jared and Bill laying in the hedgerow on the ground. And he walked over to them and started kicking them. He was gone for a few moments, and I'm sitting there wondering, what in the world is he doing? Is he burying them? Is he just tossing them in the woods to be eaten by animals? What is he doing? And then the next thing I know, he's driving out of the woods. And he just kept going. So I sat there for 2 or 3 minutes, wondering, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing? Where is he? Where's he going? What's he doing? And then I realized, he's not coming back. He's left me alone again. The thought did cross my mind, go to the police. It crossed my mind several times. But I know I can't go to the police because I'm afraid that if I do, my son is there alone in his restaurant. If I don't show up, what's going to happen to my baby? I was terrified that he was going to get to my son first, and what would he do to my son? So all thoughts of calling the police or going to the police just flew away. I have to get my son. Norman kept telling me that if I said anything or did anything, that I would lose my son, I would lose everything, and I'd be in prison and would never see him. Knowing that he has had phones tapped before, I was terrified to pick up the phone to call anybody. If I left, he would hunt me down. He would make sure I was dead because I knew too much of what he had done. I saw too much. So I just sat there and cried. All I could do was sit and wonder, what's going to happen next? What's he going to do next? It was a day or two after that, the police came into our restaurant, and he wasn't there. And I knew one of the investigative officers, and he took me back in private and asked me if I knew anything. He said, "Is Norman involved in anything?" And I said, "Not that I know of." He said, "Do you know where they are?" And I said, "No, sir, I don't."
How about you? When was the last time you saw these fellas?
It's been a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell him the truth so bad, but I was so terrified because of the threats that Norman gave me that if he got caught, I would go down just like him and suffer just like him, and I would never see my son again. So those thoughts are in the back of my head the whole time. Tell it, don't tell it, tell it, don't tell it. But I chose not to tell it because I didn't want to be without my child. I didn't want to lose my child. Norman went out, and when he came back, he had me walk outside with him, and he said, "Come look at this."
Oh, God, is that what I think it is?
Yeah. Dog dug it up.
He brought a tennis shoe back that was dug up by the dogs, and the dogs was chewing on one of the feet. He popped it on a post so he could see it every day. Like he was proud, like it was a trophy. And that to me was so sick. So sick. And I had to look at it every day. I had to look at bullet holes in the house every day. I tried to lead a normal life, but it was impossible. I kept this secret for 5 months. I was scared to death if I told anybody that he would kill me. Norman came to the house, and the next thing I know, he's in a frenzy. He's angry because he's drinking and doing other drugs.
Norman, stop!
Puts me in a chokehold. Tells me it's a good night to die. It's a good time to die. And I'm about to pass out. And he finally lets me go. And he walks away from me. And he leaves. And leaves me sitting there by myself. I finally decided that I've got to do something. I knew if I don't stop him now, he will kill me. I went in to talk to the detective that I had spoken with at the restaurant that questioned me. And I said, "You were the one that I lied to. And I wanted to tell you the truth."
When you came to the restaurant to talk to me and I said I didn't know anything, it wasn't true.
And he goes, "Well, what's this all about?" I said, "It's about Bill and Jared and Norman murdering them."
I know where Bill and Jared are.
The look on his face was astonishment. And he asked me, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yes, sir."
Why don't you tell me what happened?
And I told him everything that happened. I told him where I last saw Bill and Jared. and that I didn't know if they were taken from that area or not.
And he just left them there.
They were found on the property in a shallow grave. After all of it was said and done, an officer came into the room and presented handcuffs to me. And I was just, oh my God. Next thing I know, I'm being put behind bars. I asked what the charges were going to be because I couldn't understand. And they told me I was facing 20 years per person for accessory to murder after the fact. It was because I had waited so long that they had no choice. If I had to do it over again, I would have told him the first day he asked me if I knew if Norman was involved. I would have told the truth. The police department asked me if I would be willing to testify against Norman, and I said, absolutely. I was gladly willing to tell what happened to get him and keep him off the streets. The charges that I had for accessory to murder after the fact were lessened down to misprision of a felon due to the fact that I was cooperative with the police and I was given 6 months probation, which I was gladly willing to take without argument. And my parents picked me up and I was able to go home. People in the community were stating that I needed to fry like him because I helped bury the bodies and hide the story. Every store I went into, every person I saw, everybody would look at me. I could see them turning their heads and whisper to other people. I go into a restaurant. Certain people don't want me in the restaurant, so they ask me to leave. I couldn't get a job in my area where I'd worked for many years. No one trusted me. So it was very hurtful. And there was no way for anybody to know that that wasn't true because I wasn't able to speak to anyone to tell them anything. I had to keep everything to myself until trial. I was told not to speak to anyone about the situation. Him questioning me was one of the hardest things I've ever been through.
Please just say a complete answer question. Are you inside the residence? Feel welcome here at
No, sir. It was pretty hard to restrain myself. I tried to show him respect by answering him with a sir.
He proceeded to get his pistol and bullets and stated to me at that time that they were going to be dead, that he was going to kill them that night.
I was determined I was not going to let him get the best of me again and to make me cry. So I stood fast and stood my ground and I kept my composure. He's not going to get away with this. He's not going to get away with it. The jury came back in less than an hour. And when I heard the words guilty of first-degree murder, I was elated. I hate to smile about it, but it elated me that I know he's off the streets. He won't be back on the streets for a long time, if never. And I felt like I could breathe. Now I can be me again. I allowed myself to finally break down and accept a date, and I was real leery about it. I remember telling him, if I ever see a change in you, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I won't stick around because I'm not going to deal with that again. But he ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. We eventually got married, and we've been married for 21 years, happily. And I know that he's always going to be there for me. He's always going to be there. He's my one true love, my one true love. Norman is still fighting for appeals, and every appeal only brings all the trauma back, all the hurt and the fear, and especially the families of the murdered people. They have to go through it time and time again. That's punishment. That's torture. And it's time to end it. You reap what you sow, and he deserves what he gets for what he did. You've been sentenced twice. Let's get it over with. But if Norman is finally put to death, I won't be there.
The phone call comes in like a gunshot in the dark. 3:19 a.m. A single ring slicing through the quiet of a New York apartment where the radiator ticks and the city breathes in its sleep. A woman's voice, thin, shaking, fighting the kind of panic that tastes like metal. She doesn't say hello. She doesn't ask questions. She says one sentence, raw and fractured, like she's reading it off the inside of her skull. She's gone. The door was open. Her shoes are here. She's just gone. And for a second even the dispatcher pauses because New York hears everything, sees everything, and still nothing chills the blood like the word gone said that way. Not missing. Not late. Gone. The address is in Brooklyn. A brick building that looks like every other building until it doesn't. A narrow entryway. A buzzed-in door. A staircase that smells of wet concrete and yesterday's cigarettes. Upstairs inside apartment 4C the air is wrong. Too still. Too clean. Like someone held their breath for hours. The lights are on. The living room lamp glows soft and domestic, casting a yellow circle on the carpet like a stage light waiting for an actor who never arrives. On the floor near the couch, a pair of flats, black, cheap, scuffed at the toes, sit side by side, perfectly placed, as if their owner stepped out of them carefully, politely, before vanishing into a different world. There's a purse on the coffee table with a wallet inside. There's a Metro card tucked in the pocket, half used. There's a key ring with a tiny silver charm shaped like a camera. There's a glass in the sink with lipstick on the rim. There's a bite missing from a bagel on a paper plate. Hardened now, the cream cheese dry at the edges. Ordinary things. The kind of things that scream one brutal truth: she planned to come back. Her name is Lena Hart. 28. A photographer who takes weddings on Saturdays and street portraits the rest of the week, chasing candid beauty through subway shadows and neon reflections. Friends call her relentless. Her mother calls her stubborn. Her clients call her gifted. The neighborhood deli guy calls her camera girl, because she's always snapping pictures of people who didn't ask to be immortalized. She has a laugh that's too loud for small rooms. She has a habit of talking with her hands like she's conducting music only she can hear. She's the kind of person who leaves fingerprints on people's lives without even trying. And now she's a missing person in a city that swallows people whole. Police sweep the apartment first because that's what they do: search for signs of violence, forced entry, struggle. They find none. No broken locks. No splintered wood. No overturned furniture. The windows are shut. The fire escape is empty. The bathroom is dry. The bedroom bed is made tight corners like a hotel, but the closet door is slightly ajar, as if someone looked inside too quickly and didn't bother to close it. The air carries a faint scent of jasmine lotion and something else beneath it, something sterile like bleach, but not strong enough to blame on cleaning. More like a ghost of cleaning. A suggestion. Then they notice the detail that makes everyone's spine tighten. Lena's phone is not there. Not on the table. Not on the counter. Not by the bed. Gone with her. As if whatever happened, it happened fast, and whoever took her, if someone took her, didn't want the phone left behind like a beacon. Outside, the street is wet from a late-night drizzle. The sidewalk shines under streetlights like oil. A patrol car's red and blue flash paints the brick wall in violent pulses. Neighbors gather at a distance, arms crossed, faces half-lit, whispering into hands. Someone says she was fine yesterday. Someone says they heard arguing last week. Someone says they saw her with a guy, tall, dark jacket, didn't belong. Someone says they didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, don't want trouble. But one person is inside the apartment, sitting rigid on the couch, hands clasped so hard her knuckles look carved from bone. Her name is Mara Quinn. Lena's closest friend. The one who made the call. The one who has known Lena since college, since late nights and cheap wine and shared dreams. Mara is the person Lena called when she got good news. The person she called when she got bad news. The person who had a spare key to the apartment just in case. Because best friends do that in New York, where doors lock behind you and life moves too fast. Mara keeps repeating one thing like a prayer. She wouldn't just leave. She wouldn't. Her eyes are dry, which looks strange to some officers, because people expect tears on demand, as if grief is a vending machine. Mara's voice is steady but brittle. The way glass looks solid right up until it shatters. She says she came by because Lena didn't show up to a brunch they planned. She says she knocked, called, waited. She says she used her key because something felt off. She says the door was unlocked when she arrived, and that's what scared her most because Lena always locked it. Always. City habit. Survival habit. The kind you don't forget. Detectives ask about Lena's relationships. Boyfriends. Exes. Anyone who might be angry. Anyone who might be obsessed. Anyone who might want to hurt her. Mara says Lena dated a guy briefly months ago, nothing serious. She says Lena had an argument with a client once, but it blew over. She says Lena didn't have enemies. She was loved. She was easy to love. Mara's face twitches on that phrase like it costs her something. Then the detectives ask the question that turns the room colder. When was the last time you saw her? Mara answers without hesitation. 2 nights ago. Thursday. We had dinner. She was fine. Fine, the detective repeats, the way you repeat a word that's too slippery. Where? A place on Atlantic. Little Italian spot. We went there all the time. Did she leave with anyone? No. Did you? Yes. What time? Mara glances down, calculating. Around 10:30. And after that? I went home. Alone. A beat. Yes. The detective writes it down, pen scratching like a metronome measuring truth. By morning, Lena's face is on flyers. Her smile on the paper looks like it belongs to a different universe. Bright, unafraid, untouched by whatever darkness has moved in. Local news runs the story with that familiar cadence. Young woman missing. Family pleading for help. Police investigating. The headline crawls on TV screens in laundromats and diners. Mysterious disappearance shocks Brooklyn community. Call-in tips pour in like rain, half of them nonsense, some malicious, a few sincere but useless. People call to say they saw her in Queens. In the Bronx. In Manhattan. On a bus to Jersey. The city becomes a hall of mirrors where every reflection could be her. The first hard lead comes 24 hours later, and it's the kind that looks promising until it doesn't. A surveillance camera catches a woman who resembles Lena walking into the Hoyt-Schermerhorn subway station late Thursday night. Hood up. Head down. The footage is grainy, the angle's cruel. You can't see her face clearly, just the shape of her walk. The way her right shoulder dips slightly like she's carrying something heavy. Detectives freeze the frame, Zoom in, enhance, and the pixels break apart like sand. Could be her. Could be anyone. In New York, could be is a death sentence for certainty. Then there's the strange clue that lights up the caseboards. Lena's camera bag is found in a public trash can 3 blocks from her apartment. Not hidden. Not buried. Just tossed like garbage. The strap is snapped. The zipper is open. Inside, the camera is missing. The lenses are missing. The memory cards are missing. But the bag still smells faintly of Lena's perfume, as if the city is mocking the search by leaving behind her scent but not her body. The trash can sits near a corner bodega. The bodega owner, a tired man with a permanent frown, says he didn't see who threw it away. He says that corner is busy. He says people dump things all the time. He shrugs like he's shrugging off the weight of the entire story. But detectives don't shrug. Detectives zoom in on the bodega's own security camera, and there at 11:12 p.m., a figure appears. Tall, dark jacket, hands in pockets, face hidden under a cap. He pauses at the trash can, looks around, drops something in, and walks away like he's late for a train. It's a shadow, a silhouette, a maybe, but it's the first shape of a person in a case that's been nothing but empty space. They canvass the neighborhood. They knock on doors. They ask about screams, about arguments, about a woman forced into a car. Most people say no. Some people say yes, then change their story. One woman says she heard a thud around midnight, but assumed it was upstairs neighbors. Another man says he saw a car idling with its lights off, but in Brooklyn cars idle everywhere. A teenager claims he saw Lena get into a sedan willingly, laughing. When asked what kind of sedan, he can't say. When asked what color, he guesses 3 different ones. Meanwhile, Mara becomes the constant presence. She's at the station every day. She helps organize searches. She stands beside Lena's mother on the sidewalk while cameras roll. She holds flyers like they're oxygen. She speaks to reporters with practiced urgency. We need her back. If you know anything, please. Her voice doesn't crack. Her eyes stay steady. People call her strong. People call her devoted. People call her the kind of friend everyone wishes they had. Detectives call her something else in private, useful. Because Mara knows everything about Lena. The routines. The habits. The shortcuts home. The names of the men Lena avoided and the women Lena trusted. Mara provides a timeline in sharp detail, and it's a gift and a problem, because timelines drawn too clean sometimes hide the mess underneath. The detectives ask again about Thursday night. Mara repeats the story word for word like a recording. Dinner. 10:30. Home. Alone. They ask about phone records. Mara hands over hers without blinking. They ask about a spare key. Mara shows it. They ask about Lena's keys. Mara says they were in the apartment. Detectives find them by the door, hanging on a hook like a punchline. The case turns in on itself like a tightening knot. Days become weeks. Lena's mother stops sleeping. Lena's father starts drinking in a way that frightens everyone. Candlelight vigils burn on street corners. Strangers cry as if they knew her. The city moves on because the city always moves on, but in that neighborhood, the absence becomes a bruise you can't stop touching. Every woman walking alone at night feels eyes on her back. Every unlocked door becomes a warning. Every buzzing phone becomes a jolt. And then the investigation hits the wall that every missing person case dreads. No body, no crime scene. No clear suspect, no confession. Just fragments. A camera bag in a trash can. A shadow on a tape. A phone that's still missing like a missing heartbeat. Lena's bank cards go silent. Her social media goes quiet. Her email stops. It's like she fell off the edge of the world and took her digital footprints with her. In the 3rd month, a detective pins a new photo onto the board. An image Lena took years earlier, black and white. A candid shot of Mara laughing on a rooftop, hair blown wild by wind, eyes bright with trust. It's a beautiful photo. It's also unsettling now, because it reminds everyone how close Mara is to the story, how woven into Lena's life she was, how impossible it is to separate the victim from the person who knows her best. The detective stares at it, then at the timeline, then at the blank spaces where answers should be, and he feels that familiar creeping dread, the one that whispers this case is slipping away, cooling inch by inch, becoming the kind of mystery New York collects and stores in drawers like old scars. On a rainy afternoon, the lead detective walks out of the precinct and sees a fresh flyer taped to a lamppost. Lena's face smiling in the downpour, the ink running slightly, the paper curling at the edges. Under the photo, bold letters shout like a headline that refuses to die missing. And for a moment, the detective wonders if that word is going to outlive everyone who still says her name. Rain keeps falling on Brooklyn like time refusing to stop. It's been 6 months since the night Lena Hart vanished. And yet her name still bleeds through the city in graffiti, flyers, whispers. The case has gone cold, the kind of cold that creeps into bones, into memory, into the eyes of the detectives who still pin her photo above their desks out of superstition, as if her face might stare down the truth if they just wait long enough. The police reports are dust now. Witness statements reread, rephrased, rewritten. Leads dead. Tipstrei. Everyone's moved on. Everyone except Detective Ray Navarro. Navarro is the kind of cop the city forgets to thank. Middle-aged, heavy coat even in June, voice like gravel dragged across metal. He's been doing this long enough to know that sometimes when a case freezes solid, all you can do is stand close enough to feel the chill and wait for a crack. He keeps Lena's photo in the corner of his corkboard, not in the center like a shrine, but low where his eyes fall naturally, like a reminder that she's not gone, just misplaced. He reopens the file one night after another dead-end interview. The precinct hums with fluorescent fatigue. The city outside glows wet, restless. Navarro flips through the pages, the same old rhythm. Witness statements, timelines, phone records. He reads Mara Quinn's transcript again, the best friend, the one who found the empty apartment, the one who said she wouldn't just leave. He's read her words 100 times, but tonight something shifts. Maybe it's the way she describes the dinner. Maybe it's the way her answers never deviate, too polished, too smooth. The truth, Navarro knows, rarely memorizes itself. He circles her name in red pen. Mara Quinn. That's where the temperature starts to rise again. He calls her the next morning, voice steady, friendly enough to pass as routine. She picks up on the third ring, her tone soft, tired. Detective Navarro, she says, using his name before he gives it. I figured the call would come sooner or later. He asks how she knew. She says, you people always circle back when you've got nothing left. Her apartment is smaller than Lena's, tidier. Minimalist, no clutter, no photos on the walls except one. A black and white print of 2 women standing side by side, laughing in the sun. Lena and Mara. Taken years before. It looks like proof of something warm, something unbreakable. Navarro studies it like it might blink. He tells her he's revisiting everyone close to Lena, checking for inconsistencies. She says she understands. Offers coffee. He declines. He's watching her hands, how they twitch slightly when she sets the mug down. He asks about the night Lena disappeared. The dinner, the walk home, the hours after. Same story. Word for word. Funny thing about memory, Navarro says. It slips. It bends. Especially over time. But yours hasn't changed once. Her smile is brief and wrong. Because I tell the truth, detective. The truth doesn't change. He nods slowly. Yeah, that's one possibility. She stiffens, eyes flashing. Do you think I'm lying? He shrugs. I think you cared about her. I think losing someone like that can twist what we remember. Make us rewrite it until it fits the version we can live with. Mara leans back, crosses her arms. You sound like a therapist. I sound like a man who's buried too many cases that started with someone saying, I loved her. That's when she laughs. A quick, sharp sound that doesn't match the words that follow. Then maybe you should stop digging, detective. Some people don't want to be found. It lingers in his head all the way back to the station. Some people don't want to be found. Later that week, Navarro orders a recheck on Lena's old digital files, something the techs had archived years ago. They pull up her email history, her photography backups, her message threads. It's like peering into a life mid-sentence. He scrolls through photos, street corners, strangers' faces, quiet moments frozen in soft grayscale. And then, near the end, something strange, 6 images of Mara. Not candid. Not warm. Staged, almost obsessive. Different light angles. Same subject. Same expression. Blank direct. Staring straight at the lens like she knew someone was trying to capture her soul. The metadata shows the pictures were taken 3 nights before Lena disappeared. Navarro exhales through his teeth. That's too close to coincidence. He runs a background check on Mara Quinn. Nothing jumps out. No arrests, no priors, stable job, tax records clean. But there's one thing he can't ignore. A recent change of address, just weeks after the disappearance. She moved 2 neighborhoods over, closer to the river, no clear reason. The landlord from her old building tells Navarro something odd. The day Mara moved out, she threw away an entire box of photographs. Not trash like clutter, developed prints, hundreds of them. Faces. Streets. Random people. The landlord found them after she left, scattered in the dumpster, half soaked by rain. Navarro drives out to the old building. The dumpster's long been emptied, but the landlord kept one photograph. He says it was too strange to toss. He hands it over in a crumpled envelope. Inside is a picture of Lena sitting at a cafe, mid-laugh, sunlight catching her eyes. A beautiful shot. Except there's a reflection in the cafe window, Mara, holding a camera, watching her. Navarro takes the photo back to his car and stares at it. It doesn't prove anything, but it feels like something. Obsession, maybe. Control. A story untold between 2 people who smiled too perfectly for the world to notice the tension under the surface. He writes in his notebook. Mara watched her. Always. The next day, he pays another visit to Lena's mother. The woman's hair has gone almost white since the last time they met. Her apartment smells of lavender and regret. On the mantel, a row of candles burned halfway down. She tells Navarro she still dreams of her daughter. Hearing footsteps in the hallway, the creak of the door, the voice saying I'm home. When he asks about Mara, the mother hesitates. She was like family, she says slowly. But there were things. Little things. What kind of things? Lena tried to pull away. Said she needed space. Mara didn't take it well. Navarro feels the temperature drop again. She ever say why? She said Mara was different after their last project together. More possessive. Always showing up unannounced. Checking her messages, her appointments. Like she couldn't stand not knowing where Lena was. Navarro leaves the apartment with his chest tight. Possessiveness. Obsession. These things don't scream guilt, but they whisper it. He orders another sweep of Lena's financials. Nothing new. But something in the phone records catches his eye. Calls between Lena and Mara spiked heavily in the weeks leading up to the disappearance, then stopped dead. The last call between them was logged at 11:03 p.m. the night Lena vanished. According to Mara's statement, they said goodbye at 10:30. 33 missing minutes. He stares at the timestamp. That's the crack. That's the sound of ice breaking. Navarro goes back to the surveillance footage, the grainy tape from the bodega corner. He zooms in again, running the image through updated software. The shadowy figure dropping the camera bag into the trash is taller than Mara, yes, but the stride, the turn of the wrist, the hesitation before walking away, it's feminine. Barely noticeable. But there. The tech adjusts contrast, light, frame rate. The figure glances briefly toward the camera before turning out of frame. The face is blurred, but the outline of the hair, the way it's tucked behind one ear. Navarro feels his pulse in his jaw. He's seen that gesture before. He saw it in Mara's apartment when she brushed her hair aside while pouring coffee. He doesn't sleep that night. The next morning he calls her in. Officially this time. Interview room, cold metal table, fluorescent light humming overhead. She looks smaller than before. Her eyes are sharp but tired. Navarro starts soft. Routine questions. She answers like she's been rehearsing for a play she already knows by heart. Then he slides a folder across the table. Inside, the cafe photograph, the phone log, and a blown-up still from the surveillance tape. She doesn't touch them. He says quietly, "You want to tell me why your phone pinged near Lena's apartment at 11:12 that night?" Mara's throat works once, a swallow that sounds like thunder. Coincidence. He leans in. Coincidences don't last 6 months, Mara. Not like this. I told you I went home. Yeah, he says, tapping the paper. But your phone didn't. For the first time, her face flickers. He presses. Why'd you move? Why throw away the photos? Why were you still calling her when she stopped answering? Her eyes flash anger, sudden and raw. You don't understand what she did to me. Navarro's voice drops low. Then help me. Tell me. Silence. She folds her hands in front of her, steady now like a switch has flipped. You think she was perfect. Everyone did. But she wasn't. She used people. She used me. I gave her everything: time, support, friendship. I carried her secrets, her moods, her mess. And then she decided she was done. Just like that. Like I was disposable. Navarro waits. I went there that night to talk, Mara says. To make her understand. But she wouldn't listen. She laughed. She always laughed. The air in the room goes thin. What happened next? Mara stares through him. She said I didn't matter. That she needed someone new. She turned away and... Her voice fractures. Then steadies. It was an accident. Navarro's pen freezes. What was? The fall. He doesn't speak. He lets the silence drag, long enough for truth to crawl out. She hit her head on the corner of the table, Mara whispers. There was blood. Too much. I didn't mean to. She stops. Her eyes are wet now. I panicked. I cleaned. I couldn't lose everything because of one mistake. Navarro's heart hammers, but his tone stays calm. Where is she, Mara? Mara closes her eyes. Under the bridge. The old freight tunnel by the river. The words hang there, heavy as a body. That night, the city moves in slow motion. Rain turns to mist as the forensics team lights up the tunnel with flashlights and generators. The air smells of rust and memory. They find her within the hour. Bones wrapped in a plastic tarp, camera strap still tangled around one wrist. Time stopped for her there, under concrete and dripping pipes, while life above kept moving. Navarro stands in the dark, listening to the echo of water and the distant rumble of trains. He doesn't feel victory, only silence. The kind that fills every solved case where the ending comes too late to matter. He looks down at what's left of Lena Hart and whispers the same thing every detective whispers when the city finally gives up one of its ghosts. I'm sorry it took this long. By the time dawn rises over Brooklyn, the story has already broken. The words cold case solved scroll across TV screens, crawl through radio reports, pulse on online headlines. They call it the Lena Hart mystery, a phrase that sounds almost glamorous until you know what it smells like. Wet dirt, old blood, camera straps frayed by time. News vans choke the streets outside the precinct, their antennas cutting through fog like bayonets. People stop on corners to read the updates on glowing phone screens. After 6 years of silence, New York is talking again. Inside the station, Detective Ray Navarro stands by the window, staring down at the city he both loves and resents. His coffee has gone cold. His body hums with exhaustion, but his mind won't stop replaying the interview. The way Mara Quinn's voice broke when she said it was an accident. The way she went from denial to confession in the space of a heartbeat. The way her expression softened when she said Lena's name, like she was still talking about someone alive. He knows what the press will say. Jealous friend snaps. Obsession turns deadly. Brooklyn cold case cracked. They'll use words like motive and betrayal and justice served. But Navarro can already feel the emptiness under all of it. There's no victory in this kind of truth. Only debris. He turns when the door opens. It's Lieutenant Harris, gray hair slicked back, face hard enough to scrape stone. You're a hero this morning, Harris says, tossing a newspaper onto the desk. The headline screams, 6 years later, missing woman found, friend confesses. Navarro doesn't look at it. Hero sleeps, sir, he mutters. I just followed the cracks. Harris studies him, then sighs. Press conference at 11. They'll want you there. Navarro shakes his head. Let the DA talk. I'm done. You're never done, Ray. You know that. But Navarro doesn't answer. He's thinking about the freight tunnel, about the way the plastic tarp crinkled when they lifted it, about the camera strap looped around Bones like a keepsake. The city has too many ghosts, and he's met too many of them. Mara Quinn is in holding cell B, third door on the left. She hasn't spoken since the confession. No lawyer, no phone call. She sits with her knees pulled up, hair loose around her face, eyes fixed on nothing. The officers passing by call her the calm one. But Navarro knows calm can be just another shape of collapse. He walks down to see her anyway. The hallway buzzes with the low hum of fluorescent lights. The smell, disinfectant and cold metal. He stops in front of the bars. She looks up. Detective. Her voice is soft, almost tender. He nods once. They'll move you to Rikers soon. She smiles faintly like it's a joke. Can't say I'll miss the view. He studies her through the bars. You said it was an accident. It was. Then why hide it? Why dump her body like trash? Her eyes flicker. You ever see someone die in front of you, detective? Someone you love? It's like watching the floor vanish under your feet. You don't think. You just move. You clean. You erase. You pretend you can rewind it if you're fast enough. Navarro's jaw tightens. You lived with it for 6 years. I didn't live, she whispers. I survived. He's silent. Then she asks the question he's been waiting for. Do you hate me? He exhales slowly. I don't get to hate people. I just count the bodies they leave behind. Her gaze drops. Then add me to the list. He wants to leave, but something keeps him there. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe pity. Maybe the way her voice cracks like it's confessing to more than murder. You could have told the truth any time, he says. Why now? She hesitates. Because she wouldn't stop showing up. He frowns. What do you mean? In my head. In dreams. In photographs. Her eyes lift to meet his. Every morning, I'd open my phone and swear I saw her reflection in the black screen. Smiling. Waiting. You ever feel like the city itself is watching you, detective? Navarro doesn't answer. I knew the day you called. Mara continues. The moment I heard your voice, I knew it was over. You don't get to bury the truth forever. It rots. It leaks. Her words hang in the air like fog. Navarro leaves without replying. Outside, the storm clouds are clearing. A thin sun slices through the sky, turning the puddles on the street into mirrors. Cameras flash as reporters crowd the steps of the precinct, shouting questions. Why did she do it? Was it jealousy? Is this justice for Lena Hart? Navarro pushes past them without a word. He doesn't do stories. He does endings. Across town, in a small church on Flatbush Avenue, Lena Hart's family gathers for what the papers call a second funeral. The first one 6 years ago was empty. An urn of soil, a framed photograph, a whisper of hope. This one is different. There's a casket now. A body or what's left of it. The pews are full of strangers, neighbors, co-workers, photographers, people who only knew her through the headlines. Navarro sits in the back, coat collar turned up, invisible. The priest speaks about forgiveness, about closure, about peace. But all Navarro hears is the mother's quiet sobbing and the low drone of rain against stained glass. After the service, Lena's mother finds him. Her hands tremble when she touches his sleeve. Thank you, she says, for bringing her home. Navarro shakes his head. I just found where the world hid her. She was a good girl, the mother whispers. She didn't deserve that. No one does, he replies. Outside, the sky is bruised purple. He lights a cigarette he doesn't really want. The smoke drifts up into the air like a ghost searching for its shape. He thinks about Lena's last moments, the argument, the fall, the blood. He pictures Mara standing frozen, realizing what she's done. He tries to imagine what kind of love can twist itself into that shape. That night, the city moves like a heartbeat again. Sirens, laughter, rain on steel. But for Navarro, everything feels muted, muffled like sound through water. He goes back to the office and opens the evidence box one last time. Inside, the camera strap, the torn photos, the silver keychain with the camera charm. He holds it in his hand, thumb brushing the tiny lens. Something catches the light. A faint engraving on the back, almost invisible. He squints. It reads, "For M. You see me the way I wish I was." His stomach turns. It wasn't just friendship. It was worship. He calls the evidence tech. Run another search through Lena's old photo files, he says. Anything recent before she died. Unedited, encrypted, whatever. 2 hours later, the tech emails him a recovered folder. Corrupted files. Half deleted. He clicks through until one image loads, fractured by static. It's Lena's living room, the same one from the crime scene photos. But there's someone else in the shot. A reflection in the mirror behind her. Mara, holding the camera. Smiling. The timestamp. 10 minutes before Lena disappeared. Navarro sits back, the office light flickering above him. The story's clear now, the argument, the jealousy, the confession. But something in that smile feels wrong. Too calm. Too satisfied. Like she knew what was coming. He replays Mara's last words in his head. She wouldn't stop showing up. Later that night, he visits her cell again. She's sitting in the dark, knees pulled up, humming something low and tuneless. "You said you saw her," he begins. Mara looks up, eyes bright in the dim light. "Everywhere. Before you confessed or after?" "Always." Navarro leans against the bars. "There was a photo, taken right before she died. You're in it." She smiles faintly. Then she got what she wanted. "What's that?" "To be remembered." Navarro studies her. "You took her picture before you killed her." She tilts her head. "I captured her. That's what she wanted from me." "You're not talking about photography anymore, are you?" Mara's voice softens to a whisper. "When you love someone enough, detective, they never really leave. They just move inside you." He feels something cold crawl up his spine. The next day, the district attorney holds the press conference. The official story goes clean. Mara Quinn, 34, confessed to the involuntary manslaughter of her friend Lena Hart after a domestic dispute. Plea deal pending. The city applauds. Justice is tidy again. But at night, Navarro can't shake the unease. The photographs. The reflection. The way Mara spoke as if Lena were still watching her. He drives out to the freight tunnel one last time. The police tape flutters weakly in the wind. The river laps at the rocks like a slow heartbeat. He walks deeper into the dark, flashlight beam cutting through mist. He stops where the body was found. The ground's been cleared, the evidence taken, but something glints in the dirt. He bends down. It's a piece of shattered glass, maybe from a camera lens, maybe from something else. He holds it up. In the broken curve, his own reflection stares back at him, distorted, endless. For a moment he thinks he hears a click. Like a camera shutter. He freezes. Listens. Nothing but dripping water. Still, he whispers into the darkness. "Lena." No answer. Just wind through concrete. He exhales, turns to leave. But the feeling stays, the weight of unseen eyes. By the time he reaches his car, the first sirens of the night are wailing somewhere far off, and the city glows again like it's never known silence. He gets in, starts the engine, glances once in the rearview mirror. For a fraction of a second, he swears he sees a woman sitting in the back seat, blurred, pale, camera in hand. He blinks. The seat is empty. Navarro drives off into the rain, the city lights smearing across the windshield like streaks of memory. The case closed on paper but still alive in the static of every streetlight. And somewhere in the dark corners of New York, another shutter clicks. The courthouse smells like wet wool and old paper, like a building that has absorbed a century of fear and still isn't full. Outside, cameras stack up behind barricades, reporters with breath fogging in the cold, shouting the same words into the same microphones as if volume can force meaning into tragedy. A woman is dead. A friend confessed. A cold case has a face again. And New York, hungry, relentless, wants the story to end clean, with a name stamped on guilt and a sentence that feels like closure. Detective Ray Navarro steps through the metal detector and the noise hits him in waves. Heels on marble, courtroom doors thudding, bailiffs barking orders, the distant chant of a protest sign being lifted and lowered like a heartbeat. He keeps his head down, collar up, shoulders tight. The press has already built a narrative that fits on a banner. Closest friend snapped. The city loves that kind of horror because it's intimate. It's domestic. It lets strangers say, "That could never be me," while secretly checking their own friendships for cracks. Mara Quinn appears in the hallway in cuffs, escorted by 2 officers, and for a second the air shifts the way it does when something dangerous enters a room. She looks different from the precinct cell. Hair brushed, face composed, eyes clear and sharp. She doesn't look like a woman drowning in regret. She looks like a woman who has chosen a mask and decided it will hold. She scans the crowd and her gaze lands on Navarro as if she's been waiting for him, as if this moment belongs to them. He expects a flinch, a blink, something human. Instead she smiles just barely. The whisper moves through the hallway like a ripple. That's her. That's the friend. She doesn't even look sorry. Someone spits a word under their breath. Someone else lifts a phone higher to capture the face of a woman whose name will now live forever beside the word murder. Inside the courtroom, the lights feel too bright, like interrogation lamps dressed up as justice. The district attorney stands at the front, suit crisp, jaw set. A stack of files arranged with the neatness of someone trying to make chaos behave. On the other side, Mara's attorney leans close to her, murmuring, "He's expensive, smooth, a man built for doubt." He whispers into her ear and she nods once slowly, as if they're discussing a business deal, not a dead body in a tunnel. Navarro takes a seat behind the prosecution. He can feel the mother's presence before he sees her. Lena Hart's mother, small and pale, hands clenched around a tissue like it's the only thing keeping her from falling apart. Her eyes are swollen, red-rimmed, but they burn with something fierce. Not hope, not anymore. Just a hunger to make the world hurt back. The judge enters. Everyone rises. Everyone sits. The formalities unfold like a ritual designed to make violence sound civilized. Then the clerk calls the case. The words echo through the room. The people versus Mara Quinn. And that's when the script fractures. The defense attorney stands. His voice is calm, practiced, perfectly pitched for cameras waiting outside. "Your Honor," he says, "my client will be entering a plea of not guilty." A sound goes through the courtroom, one collective inhale, sharp and disbelieving. Lena's mother makes a noise that is half gasp, half sob. Navarro feels his stomach drop. Not guilty. After the confession. After the directions to the tunnel. After the body. It lands like a second death, a second disappearance. The truth slipping loose again as if it never belonged to anyone. Mara sits still. She doesn't look surprised. She doesn't look ashamed. She looks prepared. The defense attorney continues, and each word is another blade sliding under the ribs of certainty. The so-called confession was extracted under duress. Without counsel. After prolonged questioning. My client was psychologically vulnerable, pressured, coerced into repeating a narrative fed to her by detectives desperate to clear a stalled file. We intend to prove that the investigation was sloppy, the assumptions premature, and that the real perpetrator remains unknown. Unknown. The word is poison. It crawls across the room and settles on every face like dust. Navarro's mind flashes back to the interview room, the lights, the stillness, the way Mara said the fall and blood and panic. He remembers her hands, how they trembled once, then steadied. He remembers the exact moment her eyes turned inward, as if she was watching the scene play out on the back of her eyelids. It didn't feel fed. It felt confessed. But feelings don't convict. Evidence does. And evidence is where the case begins to wobble. Because the body they recovered is old. 6 years in damp darkness has eaten away at certainty. The forensics report gives them cause of death that reads like a shrug. Blunt force trauma consistent with a fall, consistent with a strike, consistent with 100 possible stories. The tarp tells them she was wrapped, moved, hidden, but it doesn't say who wrapped her. The tunnel is a grave, not a fingerprint. And the biggest hole is still the same hole that opened the night Lena vanished. The missing camera. The missing lenses. The missing memory cards. Her life's work gone. Her last images gone. Whatever Lena saw in the days before she disappeared, whatever she captured, whatever she kept close, went missing with her like a witness that refused to testify. The prosecution can still lean on the confession, but the defense is already sharpening their knives. They'll argue contamination. They'll argue mental breakdown. They'll argue that Mara only knew about the tunnel because the news reported it once years ago. Because rumors travel faster than truth in New York. They'll argue anything that turns a clean narrative into fog. And fog is where killers like to live. After the hearing, Navarro walks out into the gray afternoon, and the microphones surge toward him like a school of hungry fish. Detective, did she just plead not guilty? Was the confession coerced? Is the cold case really solved? Do you have the murder weapon? Navarro doesn't stop. He doesn't speak. He feels the city's gaze drilling into the back of his skull, but he keeps moving, boots striking the sidewalk with the blunt rhythm of a man trying not to fall apart in public. Behind him, the courthouse doors close, and for a second it feels like the whole thing was a dream. Justice whispered in a room, then swallowed by the street. Back at the precinct, the case file sits on his desk like an animal that's come back to life. He opens it again because that's what you do when the world tries to rip certainty out of your hands. You go back to paper. Back to ink. Back to the small truths that don't care about courtroom theater. He stares at the timeline at the 33 minutes between 10:30 and 11:03, at the phone call Mara insists never happened, the call log that insists it did. He stares at the still frame from the bodega footage, the figure, the cap, the hesitation. He stares at the cafe photo, the reflection of Mara watching Lena through glass like she was watching her through a cage. Then he does what he should have done years ago but didn't have the tools for. He digs into Mara Quinn's life not like a friend of the victim, not like a grieving ally, but like a suspect who knows how to act like the opposite. He subpoenas old emails, old chat logs, work files. He pulls her phone records again and again, mapping them like constellations. He learns where she went when she said she went home. He learns which towers her phone kissed at night. Patterns emerge in the way mold emerges, slow, ugly, undeniable. Mara's phone pings near Lena's building more times than she ever admitted. Not just that night. Weeks before. Nights when she supposedly gave Lena space. Nights when Lena's mother remembers her daughter pacing the kitchen, checking the locks twice. Navarro tracks down Lena's co-workers from the photo studio. People who never liked Mara but never had a reason to say it out loud. He sits with them in cramped offices that smell like toner and burnt coffee, and he listens as they describe the same thing in different words. Mara's eyes following Lena like a tether. Mara showing up unannounced. Mara answering questions no one asked. She'd walk in like she owned the air, one coworker says. Like Lena wasn't allowed to have a life that didn't include her. Navarro asks if Lena ever said she was afraid. The coworker hesitates. She didn't say afraid. She said trapped. Like there was no polite way to cut someone out who'd stitched themselves into your skin. Trapped. That word sticks. He visits the old landlord again, the one who mentioned the box of photos dumped in the rain. This time Navarro asks for anything else the man remembers. The landlord scratches his chin, thinking, then says something that makes Navarro's pulse jump. There was bleach, the landlord says. Couple big bottles. Still half full. She threw them out too. I thought she was cleaning up after a messy tenant. Bleach. Navarro's mind snaps back to Lena's apartment. That faint sterile hint, not strong enough to accuse, just strong enough to unsettle. Ghost cleaning. Suggestion cleaning. A crime scene scrubbed until it becomes plausible that there wasn't one. He requests the original crime scene photos again, and studies them like a man studying a lie. The carpet, the couch, the coffee table corner, the angles, the shadows. He sees what he didn't want to see then. A subtle discoloration near the baseboard, a patch of wall that looks slightly cleaner than the rest, as if wiped in a hurry. Not proof, but a whisper. The defense is betting on whispers. Navarro needs a scream. And the scream he suspects is trapped inside the missing camera. He starts hunting the way you hunt in New York. Pawn shops, camera repair stores, street markets, online resale forums. He puts out quiet feelers through contacts who know the city's underbelly. High-end lenses, he tells them. Digital body. Stolen around 2004. Owner missing. If you see it, you call me. Days pass. Nothing. Then on a Tuesday night when the precinct is half asleep and the vending machine is humming like a tired insect, Navarro gets a call from a guy named Vic Santos, an informant who deals in small truths and big consequences. I heard you're looking for old glass, Vic says. Navarro closes his office door. Talk. There's a shop in Queens, Vic says. Not a real shop. More like a back room with a cash drawer. They got a lens in there, old but clean, serial scratched. The kind of thing a photographer would cry over. Navarro's throat tightens. Where? Vic gives him an address that isn't an address so much as a corner where the city pretends not to see itself. Navarro doesn't wait for backup. He tells himself he should. He tells himself he won't be reckless. And then he's already in his car, wipers scraping rain off the windshield like the city trying to erase what he's about to find. The place is a narrow storefront with a flickering sign and a door that buzzes open too easily. Inside it smells like dust and hot wires. A man behind the counter looks up, eyes narrow, calculating. Navarro flashes his badge. The man sighs like he's been expecting this day. What do you want? The man asks. Navarro's voice is low. A lens. Serial scratched. Came in a long time ago. The man's jaw works. He glances toward the back room. Lots of lenses. Navarro steps closer. This one belongs to a dead woman. Silence. Then the man lifts his hands slowly, like surrender, like fatigue. Like he doesn't want to carry this anymore. It came in years ago, he says. A woman brought it. Paid cash for something else. Didn't give a name. A woman, Navarro repeats. The man nods. Blonde. Nice coat. Looked like she didn't belong in here. But she didn't blink. Navarro feels a cold line form down his spine. He doesn't need a photograph to picture Mara Quinn walking into a place like this with steady hands and dead eyes. He doesn't need a confession to imagine her trading Lena's tools like souvenirs. Do you still have it? Navarro asks. The man hesitates, then disappears into the back. Navarro stands alone under the buzzing light, heart loud in his ears, hearing every warning his body has ever learned. Footsteps return. The man holds a padded case. Navarro opens it. Inside is a lens, heavy, expensive, immaculate except for the scratch serial number. A fingerprint of violence on something meant to capture beauty. Navarro's hands hover over it like it might burn. Any memory cards? He asks. The man shakes his head. Just the lens. Navarro's jaw tightens. Think harder. The man swallows. There was a phone once. A flip phone. She asked if we could wipe it. I said no, not my thing. She took it back. A flip phone. Lena's phone. Navarro's pulse spikes so hard it feels like pain. When? Years ago, the man says quickly. I don't remember exactly. She was nervous about it. Said it was hot. Said she couldn't keep it. Navarro takes the lens, logs it, walks out into the rain with the case pressed to his chest like contraband. The city lights smear across puddles. Horns blare. Life keeps going. But Navarro feels the case shifting under his feet again. No longer a closed story, more like a trapdoor. That night, he returns to the precinct and locks the lens in evidence. He sits at his desk staring at the empty space where the phone should be, where the memory card should be, where the scream should be. He rubs his eyes until he sees sparks. Then, near midnight, someone slips an envelope under his office door. No knock. No footsteps. Just paper whispering against tile. Navarro freezes. The precinct is quiet. The hallway outside is empty when he opens the door. Whoever delivered it moved like smoke. He picks up the envelope. No return address. No stamp. Just his name written in block letters. Inside is a single object, wrapped in a plastic bag. A flip phone. Old. Scratched. The hinge slightly loose. The kind of phone that feels like a relic until you realize it's a mouth that never got to speak. Navarro's fingers tremble as he peels the plastic back. He stares at the device, heart hammering, and the air in the office turns thin, as if the room itself is holding its breath. Because on the back of the phone, etched into the plastic with something sharp, are 3 words that punch straight through the noise and land in the raw center of the case. She is lying. The phone lies on Navarro's desk like a piece of evidence carved straight from a nightmare. Old, battered, dust-flecked, but real. He can feel its weight pressing through the plastic bag. Heavier than a phone should be. As if it carries something it was never meant to hold. 3 words scratched into the back in desperate strokes. She is lying. He stares at it for a long time. The hum of the fluorescent lights dissolving into white noise. Then he moves. Gloves on. He powers it up, careful, patient. The screen flickers, a faint blue pulse, the old startup chime warbling through the speakers like a ghost remembering how to breathe. The date flashes, March 18, 2004. The last day Lena Hart was seen alive. The menu opens, primitive and slow. Most of it's blank. Contact deleted. Messages wiped. Gallery empty. It's been cleaned, someone thought, but Navarro's done this too long to believe in clean erasures. He plugs it into the lab terminal, watching the software crawl through the data like a bloodhound through fog. The progress bar drags. He lights a cigarette he doesn't really smoke. 10 minutes pass. Then 20. Then the screen changes, recovered files. 1. He exhales. 1. Just 1. He clicks it open. The image takes a moment to load. Pixels crawling like they're fighting their way out of static. Then it resolves into something sharp enough to stop his breath. A photograph. The living room of Lena Hart's apartment. The same carpet, same couch, same lamp. The timestamp reads 11:04 p.m. The missing minute. Lena is in the frame. She's standing, one hand lifted, mid-motion, mouth open like she's speaking. Her eyes are turned toward the camera. Not afraid, not yet, but aware. Behind her, blurred but visible, another figure stands in the doorway. Mara Quinn. Her face is half-shadowed, but there's no mistaking her. The line of the jaw. The hair tucked behind one ear. The look that isn't anger yet, but could become it in one breath. Navarro leans closer, stomach twisting. On the left edge of the image, the mirror on the wall catches something else, a third reflection. The photographer. A camera lifted, finger on the shutter. But the figure behind the lens is neither woman. It's a man. Navarro freezes. The reflection is faint, grainy, distorted by angle and distance, but the shape is there. A man's shoulders, a man's hand, a camera that's not the same model Lena owned. His heart starts to hammer. He zooms in. Enhances. The pixels crumble under magnification, but there's enough. Someone was there. Someone else. For the first time in months, the certainty he's lived inside begins to fracture. He replays Mara's confession in his head. She fell. I panicked. I cleaned. The simplicity of it, the way she said I was alone. The words fit too perfectly. And perfection, Navarro knows, is a lie's favorite costume. He pulls the case file open again, pages shuffling like restless wings. There, in the original report, one witness from the building across the alley, dismissed at the time as unreliable. An old man half-blind who said he saw a guy near Lena's window that night. A big one, carrying something. The statement was brushed off. No forced entry. No evidence of a man inside. But now it doesn't sound like noise. Sounds like an echo. Navarro pushes away from the desk and heads straight for the evidence room. The officer on duty raises an eyebrow when he signs out the sealed folder labeled Heart. Lena Originals. He spreads everything on a metal table, crime scene photos, early notes, timeline logs. He traces the timeline again. 10:30 dinner ends. 11:03 call. 11:12 Mara's phone ping near Lena's. 11:30 building quiet. He whispers it aloud like a ritual. There's someone between 10:30 and 11. He checks the recovered photo again. The man's shape in the mirror. Too tall to be Mara. Not the right build. Someone Lena trusted enough to let in. Someone who could stand in her living room without her screaming. Someone who knew them both. The thought lands hard, unwelcome, inevitable. He digs through old interviews, Lena's co-workers, neighbors, family. Names and faces he's read 100 times. One name catches his eye again, Elliot Gray. Photographer. Studio partner. Occasional collaborator. The man who introduced Mara to Lena at a gallery show back in 2001. The man who gave Lena her first freelance contract. The man who, according to Mara's statement, moved to Chicago years ago. Navarro types the name into the database. Elliot Gray, no criminal record, no active warrants, no forwarding address. But a driver's license hit from 6 months earlier. Not in Chicago, but in Yonkers. An hour outside the city. He stares at the address. À Quai-Cul-de-Sac. No apartment number. Just a house. He goes that night. The drive is long, wet, the kind of road that keeps secrets. His wipers fight rain like whispers he can't silence. The house sits at the end of the street, 2 stories, lights off, curtains drawn. No car in the drive. Navarro parks, waits. The storm muffles sound. Then a faint light flickers behind an upstairs window, blue, intermittent. A computer screen. Someone's awake. He knocks. Nothing. He knocks again, louder. The light upstairs blinks off. Navarro's instincts flare. He steps back, hand brushing the gun at his hip. Elliot Gray. NYPD. Footsteps. Inside. Then the sound of a latch. The door opens an inch. A man peers through the gap. Early 40s, gaunt, stubble like static, eyes wide but too still. Detective Navarro, the man says. Not a question. Navarro freezes. You know who I am. I saw you on TV. The Hart case. Navarro studies him. You worked with her. Elliot's face tightens. I did. A long time ago. Mind if I come in? The pause stretches. Then the door opens wider. The house smells of damp wood and coffee gone bitter. Photos cover every wall. Faces, places, color bleeding through years of dust. But it's what sits on the table that makes Navarro's chest clench. A digital camera, old, worn, its strap cut clean. Next to it, a stack of memory cards. Navarro moves closer, heart pounding. You kept her equipment. Elliot's voice is low, trembling. I didn't steal it. I found it. Weeks after she disappeared. In the river trash near the bridge. Why didn't you come forward? Elliot looks up. Because I didn't trust the story you were building. Navarro's tone hardens. You were there that night, weren't you? Silence. Then a whisper. Yes. Navarro's pulse jumps. You saw it happen? Elliot nods slowly. I saw them argue. I saw Mara shove her. But it wasn't an accident. He picks up the camera, holds it like a confession. Lena had found something. About Mara. About money. Fraud, stolen work. She was going to expose her. Mara didn't panic. She planned it. She called me to come over after. Said she needed help. Said someone had broken in. When I got there, Lena was already. He stops, breath shaking. She told me if I called the cops, she'd ruin me. Said she'd tell them I did it. And I believed her. Because she was good at lies. Navarro studies his face. You helped her move the body. I helped her carry it down the stairs. I didn't know where she took it. I thought she'd leave town after. But she stayed. She lived. She smiled. She acted like Lena never existed. He slides the stack of memory cards toward Navarro. I kept these because I couldn't throw them away. But I couldn't look either. I didn't know if they'd show what I saw, or something worse. Navarro pockets the cards carefully, his pulse roaring in his ears. You're coming with me. Elliot doesn't resist. He just sits, eyes hollow, muttering. She told me if she ever went down, she'd make sure I went first. Back at the precinct, Navarro feeds the cards into the evidence computer. The drive hums to life, the screen filling with folders, dates, projects, faces. Then one labeled private. Password protected. He bypasses it. The folder opens. Inside are dozens of images. Lena and Mara. Smiling. Drinking. Traveling. Each one time-stamped in the months leading to the murder. But the last three are different. No smiles, no poses. Just Lena's apartment. The first photo shows Lena holding the phone up, filming something off-frame. Her eyes are wet. Fear, confusion, anger blended. The second shows Mara in the doorway, jaw clenched, hand raised. The third is the one Navarro's already seen, but now it's full resolution, clear, merciless. And this time the reflection in the mirror isn't just Elliot. There's movement. A fourth figure. Behind the man with the camera, another shadow. Navarro zooms in until the image begins to dissolve into noise, but before it breaks, he catches it. The edge of a uniform. A badge glinting under light. He feels the blood drain from his face. A police badge. Not his, but NYPD. He checks the database again, his hands shaking now. He scrolls through the roster of officers assigned to the missing persons unit that year. 10 names. 9 retired. 1 transferred out of state. One name stands out. Detective Leonard Voss. Lead investigator on Lena Hart's original disappearance. The man who closed the case after 3 months with no evidence of foul play. Navarro sits back, cold spreading through his chest like ink in water. The system was bent from the start. He looks at the photo again, at the glint of the badge, at the camera catching the moment truth turned inside out. The note carved into the phone, "She is lying," wasn't from Mara. It was from Lena. A message no one saw until now. Outside, the city hums like it always does, indifferent, electric, alive. But inside the precinct, the air feels heavy enough to crack. Navarro closes his eyes, and for the first time in 20 years, he realizes the case he thought he solved isn't over. It's barely begun. The photo sits on the screen like an accusation carved in light. A frozen second that shouldn't exist, a reflection in a mirror, a badge catching the lamp's glow, a ghost of truth hiding in plain sight. Detective Ray Navarro stares at it until the image blurs, until the badge feels alive, pulsing with the rhythm of something that has been waiting buried for 20 years. Detective Leonard Voss. The name tastes bitter in his mouth. Voss, the lead investigator on Lena Hart's disappearance in 2004. Navarro remembers the file, remembers reading the old notes when he first reopened the case. Clinical, careless lines typed on a report that dismissed Lena's vanishing as voluntary departure. A runaway. A woman leaving her life behind. No sign of forced entry. No signs of struggle. He told the media she probably needed time away. The same man who later transferred to another borough, then retired quietly, pension intact. Navarro leans back in his chair. The precinct hums faintly outside his door. Keyboards, phones, distant chatter, but in here the air feels still wrong. He plays the photograph again, zooming in until the pixels bruise. The badge is unmistakable. The reflection behind Mara and Elliot shows Voss standing near the doorway, half-turned, camera in hand. Not the kind of camera a cop carries, but something else. Sleek, compact, professional. A photographer's camera. He checks the timestamp again. 11:04 p.m. The missing minute. Voss was there. Navarro's pulse climbs. He grabs his phone, scrolling through contact lists, old department records. Voss retired 8 years ago. Address listed in Staten Island. He dials it. Rings twice. Then an old man's voice answers, steady, slow. Hello. Detective Voss? A pause. Who's asking? This is Detective Ray Navarro, NYPD. I need to speak with you about the Lena Hart case. Silence, then a faint exhale. That case is closed. Not anymore, Navarro says quietly. I've got something you need to see. The line goes dead. Navarro stares at the screen. The call lasted 4 seconds. He grabs his coat. Outside, the night air slaps his face cold. Staten Island's an hour by bridge in bad weather, but Navarro drives it like he's chasing something that might vanish again if he's too slow. The city peels away behind him. Manhattan's glare fading into industrial dark. The rain starts as mist, then thickens into needles on the windshield. He finds the house near the end of a narrow street lined with sleeping cars and half-dead trees. No lights inside, but a faint glow leaks through the blinds. A TV, maybe. He knocks once, then again, harder. Nothing. He checks the door. Unlocked. He steps in. The smell hits first. Dust, old paper, whiskey, and the faint rot of a refrigerator left open too long. The living room is a mausoleum of memory. Stacks of yellowed newspapers, boxes of photographs, police memorabilia. On the mantel, a single frame. An old NYPD badge, tarnished and gleaming under lamplight. Voss, Navarro calls out. His voice echoes down the hallway. A shuffle. Then a cough. The retired detective appears at the far end, wearing a wrinkled t-shirt, eyes sunken, skin sallow. He holds a glass in one hand, not quite steady. I told you, Voss says, voice gravelly. That case is over. Navarro takes a step forward. Not for Lena Hart. Not for me. Voss watches him, unreadable. What do you think you found? Navarro pulls a photo from his folder. The printed still from Lena's phone, the one showing the reflection. He places it on the table. I think you were there that night. Voss's hand trembles just enough to make the whiskey ripple. Careful, son. You were in her apartment, Navarro says. The night she disappeared. The night she died. Voss stares at the image and for a second the mask cracks. His jaw tightens. His throat works. Where did you get this? He finally mutters. Recovered from her phone. You were behind the camera. Behind Mara. Behind the story you helped her write. Voss laughs low and broken. You think I killed her? I think you buried her, Navarro snaps. You covered it up. You called it a runaway because you were there. Because you had to protect someone. Voss sinks into a chair, staring at the floor. The television flickers mutely, casting colorless light over the room. For a long time he says nothing. Then softly, almost kindly, You don't know what you're touching, Navarro. Then tell me, Navarro says. Because if you don't, I'll find it myself. Voss's eyes rise, gray and cold. You ever chase a truth so hard you forget who put you on the path? Navarro frowns. What are you talking about? Check your chain of command, Voss says. Check who approved the reopen order on this case. You think it was random? The words stop Navarro cold. Voss smiles without humor. They needed someone stubborn. Someone who dig deep enough to find what they wanted found, and take the fall for the rest. Navarro's voice is a whisper. You're saying this is a setup? Voss leans forward, elbows on knees. You're not the first detective to reopen it. Just the first to live long enough to see the picture. Navarro's mouth goes dry. Where's the rest of it? The other photos? The proof? Voss's gaze hardens. There's no proof left. Mara took what she needed. I took the blame she couldn't afford. And Lena took the secret none of us were supposed to see. He stands unsteady. You think she was some innocent artist? You think this was just jealousy? She was murdered, Voss. She exposed something, Voss snaps. She found out the department was laundering seized assets through private photography auctions. Dirty money wrapped in art. You think her projects were all portraits in sunlight? Half those galleries were fronts. She stumbled onto something and she documented it. Every transaction, every face, every badge. She thought she was telling a story. She didn't realize she was signing her death warrant. Navarro's heart hammers. And Mara? Mara was the courier. The middleman. The one who collected the footage, kept the records clean, moved the pieces between cops and collectors. But she got greedy. She wanted out. Lena found out. And he stops, swallowing hard. I was told to make it disappear. Make her disappear. The room feels smaller, the air thicker. You killed her. I didn't pull the trigger, Voss says, voice trembling. But I stood there. I watched what happened and then I made it vanish. I filed the report. I sealed the evidence. I shut it all down. Because they said if I didn't, I'd end up in that river too. Navarro steps back, jaw tight. Who's they? Voss looks up at him, eyes empty. Ask your captain. Navarro's phone buzzes. Unknown number. He answers instinctively. Static, then a voice, distorted, metallic, mechanical. Detective Navarro, it says. Stop digging. He freezes. Who is this? Stop or you'll end up next to her. The line cuts. Voss chuckles, bitter. Now you understand. Navarro grabs the photo and backs toward the door. You're coming with me. But Voss shakes his head slowly. No. My story ends here. Before Navarro can move, the old detective raises the glass, drains it and drops it onto the floor. It shatters and for an instant Navarro sees something glint between Voss's fingers. A small metal capsule. Cyanide, fast and quiet. God damn it. Navarro lunges forward, but Voss is already collapsing, the color draining from his face, the glass rolling from his hand. He falls against the chair, breath rattling once, then stopping. Navarro kneels beside him, heart pounding, but it's over. On the table, Voss's badge gleams faintly in the TV light, its number scratched out. Navarro's hands shake as he pulls his phone and snaps a photo. Then he notices something else, a letter, tucked under a stack of old files. He opens it, eyes scanning the handwriting, jagged and frantic. If anyone finds this, the truth is in the negatives. Locker 314. Pier 9 storage. Don't trust the badge. Navarro folds the paper, slips it into his pocket, and looks once more at Voss's body. Then he leaves. The drive back feels longer. The rain has stopped, but the air carries that post-storm silence that always comes before something worse. He doesn't call it in. Not yet. He can't. If what Voss said is true, the rot goes higher than he can reach. Pier 9. Locker 314. By dawn he's there. The docks are deserted, the water black as oil. He parks under a flickering light, the kind that makes shadows move even when nothing's there. The storage units stretch in neat rows, metal doors tagged with numbers like unmarked graves. He finds 314 halfway down. The padlock is old, rusted. He picks it with a tension wrench, heart pounding in time with the distant clang of ships. Inside, darkness, then dust, then boxes stacked to the ceiling. Old police files, film canisters, photographs in yellow envelopes. He opens one. Inside, glossy prints of art auctions, men in suits, envelopes exchanged. Some of the faces he recognizes, retired officers, city officials, names he's seen in headlines shaking hands with mayors. Another envelope holds photos of Lena, camera in hand, mid-snap, unaware she's being followed. Then the last envelope, black tape sealing the flap. He peels it open carefully. Inside, negatives, dozens of them, each labeled in faint pencil heart. Quinn. Fuss. He holds one up to the light. The image is grainy, reversed, but clear enough to see what it is. Lena standing on a rooftop facing someone off-frame. Her mouth open in mid-shout. A gun pointed at her. Not Morris. A man's hand. A badge on the wrist. Navarro's stomach drops. He knows that hand. The scar across the knuckle. The ring. Captain Harris. His own commanding officer. The man who told him to reopen the case. For a moment the world tilts. The gulls cry somewhere far off, the wind cutting through steel, and Navarro feels the trap closing. Years in the making, every step guided, every discovery placed where he would find it. He hears Voss's voice again. You think you're chasing truth, but you're walking the path they built for you. The photo trembles in his hand. Footsteps echo behind him. Navarro turns, heart pounding. At the mouth of the corridor, silhouetted by dawn, stands Captain Harris. Calm. Smiling. Morning, Ray. He says softly. Looks like you found it. Navarro's gun is in his hand before he thinks. You killed her. Harris's smile doesn't change. No, son. I cleaned what was already broken. Voss said you ordered it. Voss talked too much. And now so are you. Behind him, two other men step out of the mist. Suits. Unmarked. Hands under jackets. Harris steps forward. Walk away, Ray. No one will blame you. File the report, close the locker, let it die like it was meant to. Navarro shakes his head, voice low and shaking. Lena deserves better than that. Harris sighs. She's dead. The truth won't bring her back. Navarro steadies his aim. Maybe not. But it'll take you down with her. A long silence stretches, the kind that could shatter or end everything. Then faintly from somewhere deep in the docks, a sound, metal scraping against metal. A camera shutter. Navarro blinks. And the light flashes. The flash burns through the fog like lightning. It sears white across the wet metal walls, blinding for a heartbeat, freezing everyone mid-motion. Captain Harris flinches, half turning toward the source. Navarro doesn't. He knows that sound too well. The crisp mechanical click. The rhythm of a camera documenting truth before it dies. Another flash. Then another. 3 rapid bursts, echoing through the steel corridor of Pier 9. Navarro's gun stays level, his heartbeat a violent drum in his ears. Harris steps back into the mist, one hand raised slightly, eyes flicking between Navarro and the shadow behind him. Who's there? Harris barks, voice cracking against the concrete. Silence. Only the wind. Then footsteps. Slow. Steady. Deliberate. A figure emerges from between the rows of storage units, hood pulled low, a camera hanging from one hand like an extension of bone. The lens glints under the flickering dock light. For a second, it's impossible to tell if it's man or woman. Then Navarro's breath catches. Mara, he whispers. She steps closer, lowering the hood. Her hair is soaked from the mist, eyes hollow but alert, alive in a way they weren't in the holding cell. She's not supposed to be here. She's supposed to be in custody awaiting trial. But here she stands, barefoot, drenched, ghost-like, holding the weapon that started everything. Miss me, she says quietly. Harris's jaw tightens. You're not supposed to be out. I walked out, she says. Turns out, locks don't mean much when the people guarding you don't know who's paying them. Navarro's gun doesn't waver. You're working with him? Mara laughs, a brittle, broken sound that echoes off the walls. With him? No, never with him. He's the reason she's dead. The reason we're all dead. Harris exhales through his nose, slow, measured. You shouldn't be here, Mara. And you shouldn't have killed her, she snaps, camera lifting like a threat. Navarro moves an inch closer, keeping both of them in sight. What do you want, Mara? The truth, she says. The one you think you found, but not the whole of it. Harris shakes his head, almost amused. You don't even know what you're holding. You never did. Oh, I know exactly what I'm holding, she says, raising the camera, finger hovering over the shutter. Lena's final film. The one you didn't burn. The one she hid before you came. Navarro's mind spins. Lena's final film. Impossible, Harris mutters. We scrubbed everything. Mara smirks. Not the negatives you didn't know about. Not the one she buried in my camera bag. The bag you threw in a trash can 3 blocks from her apartment. You left the strap broken, but the film canister wedged in the lining? You missed that part. She steps forward. She filmed everything, Captain. The confrontation. The moment you walked in with your badge shining like God's permission. The argument. The gun. Harris's mask finally slips. His face tightens, jaw grinding. You have no idea what you're doing. Oh, I do, Mara says. I've been watching you for years, waiting for this night. Navarro's finger tightens on the trigger. Mara, whatever's on that film, give it to me. Her eyes cut toward him, full of something between trust and hatred. You really think the department will let you show it? You're already in their story, detective. They made you the hero. You're the man who solved the cold case. They'll bury you next to it if you go any further. I'm not them, Navarro says. She tilts her head, smile faint. That's what Voss said. The air turns to glass. Harris moves first. His hand drops toward his hip, jacket flaring, gun gleaming under the dock light. Navarro fires. The shot splits the silence in half, bullet smashing into the steel beside Harris's shoulder. The echo ricochets off the water. Mara runs. The camera swings against her chest, clicking once, instinct not intention, as she bolts between storage rows. Harris shouts into his radio, voice cracking, calling for backup that won't come. Navarro chases her. The dock becomes a maze of metal and fog. Each turn looks the same. Corrugated walls, rusted locks, puddles catching fractured reflections. Navarro's boots slap against the concrete, his flashlight beam slicing through mist. Mara, he shouts. Stop. Her silhouette flickers at the far end, ducking behind a container. The sound of film winding, quick and sharp. Then another voice. Harris's. Echoes behind him, closer than expected. You can't save her, Ray. She's poison. She killed Hart and she'll kill you too. Navarro doesn't look back. He rounds the corner. Empty. Then he hears it. A faint metallic clang. Above. He lifts his light. Mara's halfway up a ladder bolted to the side of a shipping container, climbing toward the roof. The wind whips her hair across her face. She looks down, eyes wild. She filmed you too, Ray, she calls out. You just don't know it yet. He frowns. What are you talking about? Lena trusted you. She called you that night, after you left the precinct. She left a message. On your voicemail. But it was wiped from the system. Guess who had access to your phone records back then? Harris's voice cuts in from below. Enough. He's there now, gun up, aimed. Mara reaches the top, stands silhouetted against the pale dawn. Her voice carries down like a confession screamed into eternity. She said your name before she died, Captain. I heard it on the tape. Then she raises the camera. The flash detonates again. Brilliant white tearing the fog apart. Harris fires. The shot punches the air. Mara stumbles. For a second it looks like she might hold her balance, but the camera slips from her fingers, falling, spinning, flashing one last time before it shatters on the concrete below. Her body follows, slow, soundless, until it hits with a sickening thud that cuts the morning open. Navarro moves before he thinks, dropping to his knees beside her. Blood seeps between the cracks of the dock, mingling with salt water. Her eyes are open. The same eyes that once stared through interrogation glass. She whispers, breath hitching. Locker 31-4 behind the film. Then her hand goes slack. Navarro looks up, rage breaking through disbelief. Harris stands a few meters away, gun still raised, smoke curling from the barrel. She was reaching for the gun, Harris says flatly. You saw it. Navarro's voice is a growl. She was unarmed. She was a killer, Ray. No. Navarro says, standing. She was your witness. Harris's expression doesn't change. You're done, detective. This ends here. Navarro fires first this time. The bullet grazes Harris's shoulder, sending him stumbling back into the wall. He returns fire, wild, panicked. Sparks dance off metal. Navarro dives behind a container, breath ragged. Then silence again. Only the distant creak of ships. When he peers out, Harris is gone. He sprints back toward the locker where it all began, 314. The padlock hangs broken, swinging in the wind. Inside, the envelopes he found earlier are scattered across the floor, as if someone else already searched through them. But near the back, half hidden under the box of negatives, is a small steel case. New, modern, out of place. He opens it. Inside, a hard drive. A single label scrawled in red ink. Heart 04 Master Reel. He pockets it and runs. By the time he reaches his car, the horizon is turning gold. The city is waking up. Sirens whine somewhere in the distance. Whether they're coming for him or someone else, he doesn't know. He drives without thinking, without direction, until he's back across the bridge, rain streaking sideways against the windshield. He heads not for the precinct, not for home, but to an old warehouse he knows on the edge of Red Hook, one that used to belong to the department before budget cuts turned it into storage. A place without cameras, without oversight. Inside, he finds a dusty projector, plugs in the drive using an adapter scavenged from a desk drawer. The machine whirs to life. The screen flickers. Then Lena Hart appears. Alive. Breathing. Moving. The footage is handheld, shaky but clear. She's filming herself in the apartment, whispering into the camera. If you're watching this, something's gone wrong. Mara's involved in something dangerous. She's scared. I'm scared. But I can't stop now. I found things, photos, transfers, auctions. I think people in the department are behind it. They're using me. Using her. There's a noise behind her. She turns. The frame shakes. Then the camera drops, landing sideways on the table but still rolling. A man steps into view. Badge on belt. Captain Harris. You shouldn't have seen that, he says. Where's Mara? Lena's voice trembling. Somewhere safe, Harris lies. Hand over the film. I already sent copies. Harris raises the gun. Then this is pointless. She backs up, hands lifted. The shot doesn't come from him. Comes from off camera. A flash. A scream. The lens goes white, then black. Navarro sits frozen. The projector's flicker strobing across his face. He rewinds. Plays it again. The shot's angle. The timing. The position. It wasn't Mara. It wasn't Harris. The muzzle flash came from a third corner of the room. From the doorway. He leans closer. The outline is faint but unmistakable. A man in plain clothes, tall, lean, the same shape he's seen in reflections before. Elliot Gray. The photographer. The witness. The man who handed him the memory cards and said, I only helped her carry the body. Navarro shuts the projector off. The silence feels alive, buzzing in his ears. The picture is different now, every suspect, every witness, every confession. Pieces of a larger machine designed to hide something bigger than jealousy or obsession. He looks at the hard drive, then at the phone still in his pocket, the one with she is lying carved into the back. He whispers to himself, voice low and certain. They all were. Outside, the first siren approaches, its wail threading through the dawn. Navarro pockets the drive, grabs his gun, and steps back into the city. There's one name left on his list. Elliot Gray. And this time, he's not coming as a detective. He's coming as the last witness left alive. The morning crawls awake over Brooklyn, pale and colorless, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Navarro hasn't slept. He hasn't even slowed down. The steering wheel vibrates under his hands as he speeds toward the East River. The sun breaking through the fog in thin metallic lines. The hard drive sits on the passenger seat, sealed in a plastic evidence bag. His badge glints faintly beside it, heavy with everything it doesn't mean anymore. The projector footage keeps replaying in his head. Lena's voice, soft but steady, whispering about evidence, about corruption, about people inside the department. The final flash. The gun. The silhouette in the doorway that didn't belong to Harris or Mara. Elliot Gray. The man who had handed him the memory cards. The man who'd confessed halfway, just enough to redirect the spotlight. The man who said she was already dead, but whose eyes had trembled like someone caught rehearsing a lie. Navarro's jaw clenches. He drives faster. When he reaches Elliot's house in Yonkers, the street is empty, silent except for the wind ticking through the trees. The blinds are drawn again, but the front door isn't locked. It swings open under his hand, slow, heavy. The house looks different, cleaner. The photos that covered the walls before are gone. Only pale rectangles remain where frames used to hang. The table where the camera once sat is bare except for an ashtray overflowing with cigarette butts. The smell hits him, something chemical sharp. He moves through the hall with his gun drawn, boots whispering against the floor. Every instinct tells him the scene is wrong, curated, staged. Like someone prepared it for him. In the living room, he finds a note taped to the television. "Play me." The remote waits beside it. He turns the screen on. Static. Then video. Elliot's face fills the frame. Pale. Unshaven. Eyes ringed with exhaustion. He's sitting in the same room, the camera propped up on a chair in front of him. "Detective Navarro," Elliot begins, voice hoarse. "If you're watching this, it means I didn't make it to you first. Or maybe I didn't make it at all." Navarro doesn't move. "I lied to you," Elliot continues. "Not about everything. Just enough to keep breathing. You wanted the truth, but you don't understand what that word costs. Nobody in this story is clean, detective. Not me. Not Mara. Not even her." He pauses, runs a hand through his hair. Lena wasn't innocent. She didn't just find corruption. She helped build it. She took photos for the auctions. The same evidence she claimed to expose, she used to make money. When she tried to pull out, they panicked. Mara wanted to protect her. Harris wanted to silence her. And me, he laughs weakly. "I wanted to save myself." The screen flickers. Elliot leans closer. "You were never supposed to find me. You were supposed to close the case on Mara and walk away. But you didn't. So now you're part of it." The video cuts to static again, then returns. His tone changes, lower, urgent. "They'll come for you, Ray. The same people who came for her. Voss wasn't lying about Pier 9. Those auctions are still happening. They're digital now. Encrypted. But the files on that drive, they're the key. The proof. The rot goes to the top. Harris is just a gatekeeper. The real man behind it sits in Manhattan. Inside an office with no windows." Elliot's gaze sharpens. "You know his name. Everyone in the department does." Then he smiles faintly, almost tender. "Tell Lena I'm sorry." The screen goes black. Navarro stands there, breathing hard, the static hissing like a dying heartbeat. He pulls the hard drive from his coat, staring at it like it might explode. The key. He scans the room again and freezes. The front door, still half open, creaks slightly. The faintest shadow passes the threshold. He drops the drive into his pocket, gun up. "Elliot." No answer. He moves toward the hall. The floorboards groan. The kitchen light flickers once, then dies. Then a voice from behind him, calm and too close. "Put it down, Ray." He spins. Harris. Standing in the doorway, shoulder bandaged, eyes dark, pistol leveled. "Step away from the table," Harris says. "You've gone too far." Navarro's jaw tightens. "Where's Elliot?" Harris glances around the room, almost bored. "Gone. Like the others." "You killed him." "I cleaned up the mess." "Same thing." "You think that drive dies with me?" Harris smiles thinly. "You're not that naive. There are a dozen drives just like it. Dozens of detectives like you, chasing ghosts we create. You think this all started with Lena Hart? She was one of hundreds. Disposable names in a file cabinet labeled Justice." Navarro's finger curls around the trigger. "Why me?" "Because you were perfect," Harris says. "A man with guilt, with a reputation, with nothing left to lose. You were supposed to solve the cold case, close the circle, and make the department look clean again. But you couldn't leave it alone." Navarro lowers his gun slightly. "You framed me." "Not yet," Harris says softly. "But give me 5 minutes." He nods toward the wall. Navarro follows his gaze. There, above the couch, hangs a single photograph, one that wasn't there before. It's new, crisp. A picture of Mara Quinn's body, lying on the dock. The timestamp. The exact moment she fell. And in the background, Navarro, gun drawn. His stomach twists. "You set this up." Harris's grin widens. "It's what I do." Navarro fires first. The shot tears through the frame, glass exploding, but Harris dives behind the couch. Return fire cracks through the air, shredding drywall. Navarro ducks behind the table, the drive clutched tight. Bullets carve the room apart, with splinters, glass rains down. When his clip runs dry, silence crashes down again. He looks up. Harris is gone. A trail of blood leads toward the back door. Navarro follows, every nerve burning. The yard beyond is open, bordered by chain-link fence and wet grass glistening under pale sunlight. Harris stumbles toward the gate, one hand pressed to his wound. "Stop!" Navarro shouts. Harris doesn't. Navarro fires once more. The bullet hits metal, sparks fly. Harris vanishes behind the fence. By the time Navarro reaches it, the alley is empty. Only rainwater pooling, reflecting a broken sliver of sky. He stands there, chest heaving, gun still warm, the drive heavy in his pocket. He knows he should call it in. He knows he won't. Instead, he walks back inside. The air reeks of gunpowder and burnt plastic. The TV screen has gone to static again, whispering like a voice he can't quite make out. He looks around the empty house and realizes Harris was right about one thing. This isn't over. The story doesn't end with a bullet. He leaves the house burning. By the time he reaches the bridge, sirens already paint the sky red. He tosses his badge out the window. It disappears into the river below, swallowed whole. He drives until night falls